Hello friends, today we'll discuss about 8086 interrupt types. There are different types of interrupts and they are classified as hardware interrupts and software interrupts. These hardware interrupts they are again classified into two types. One is the maskable interrupts and the other one is the non-maskable interrupts. And in 8086 we have different types of software interrupts. So the number is 256. So we have 256 different types of software interrupts in 8086. And now let us look into the hardware interrupts. So hardware interrupts, we know that it is classified as maskable and non-maskable. So first we will see maskable interrupts. So how can we give the maskable interrupts to the 8086 CPUs through the INTR pin? So 8086 is a 40 pin IC and each pin performs different functions. So for interrupts, the 8086 is having two pins for interrupts. So one for the maskable interrupts and another one for the non-maskable interrupts. So INTR. So INTR is a interrupt request pin, which is a maskable interrupt through which any IO devices can interrupt the 8086 CPU. And then let us look at the non-maskable interrupt. So maskable interrupts is given is through the INTR pin, and the other one is the NMI non-maskable interrupt. So non-maskable interrupt is applied to the NMI pin of pin number 17 of 8086 CPU processor. This is used in special cases, special conditions, like in a power failure conditions it can be used. So we'll see an example of the non-maskable interrupt in the next slide. So what is this maskable interrupt and what do you mean by this non-maskable interrupt? So first we'll see what is non-maskable interrupt. So non-maskable interrupt is nothing but the interrupt which cannot be disabled by the processor or by the programmer. So we call it as a non-maskable interrupt. So that is the programmer cannot control the non-maskable interrupt when it has to be serviced. So automatically the non-maskable interrupt is generated and it gets serviced. The programmer cannot control it. So whenever an interrupt occurs, then it stops the main program and then executes the corresponding subroutine. So every interrupt will have a subroutine like NMI. NMI is also having a service routine. And then if you look at the maskable interrupts, so the programmer can mask these interrupts. That is, the programmer can disable or enable these interrupts that are connected to the maskable interrupts. That is through the INTR pin. So and then software interrupts. So in software interrupts, INT stands for interrupt and N is the number of the interrupt or can also be said as a type of the interrupt. So INT 0 is a type 0 interrupt. In case if N value is set as 1, then INT 1, INT 0 1H is a type 1 interrupt. In case if you write INT 0 5H, it is a type 5 interrupt. Likewise you can have 256 different types of interrupts. So let us look at the some of the interrupts and their operations. So in 8086 we have five dedicated interrupts. So let us look at the function of each and every dedicated interrupt. So the first one is divide by zero interrupt. So what type of interrupt is a divide by zero interrupt and when it occurs and how it gets serviced. So also we will look into that in detail here. So divide by zero interrupt is a type 0 interrupt, that is INT 0. So when this interrupt gets generated is whenever you try to divide any large number by a small number, or if you try to divide any number by a 0, then in such cases it generates an interrupt called as a divide by zero interrupt or a type 0 interrupt. So whenever an interrupt occurs, then the 8086, in case if 8086 is working on any program, then whenever an interrupt occurs, then it stops the execution of the program to service the interrupt. So it places its contents in the stack memory. So first it will push the flags onto the stack, and then it resets the trap flag and then interrupt flag, and then places the code segment and instruction pointer IP values for the next instruction on the stack memory, and then it runs the ISR code for the interrupt. So for this type 0 interrupt, it runs an ISR code to display a message divide error. So ISR is interrupt service routine, that is a program related to the corresponding interrupt occurred. So it performs some specific function like for interrupt 0, for divide by 0 or interrupt 0, that is type 0 interrupt. When it occurs, it executes a program to display a message that divide error on the screen. So examples are shown here. So if you let us take a value of 82 in AL, move AL, 82H, so AL will get the value of 82, and then you are subtracting CL by CL. So when you subtract CL by CL, you will get a value of CL as 0. So you can do this, or you can simply move CL, 00. You can also directly move the value 00 to CL, or you can subtract the same registers so that you will get the value as 0, and then you divide it by CL. So divide CL will divide the AL value by the value in CL. So we know that the value in AL is 82 and the value in CL is 0. So if you divide 82 by 0, then in such cases it generates an interrupt called as divide by 0 interrupt. So this is, if you try to attempt to divide any number by 0, then it displays a message divide error message, that is due to the occurring of divide by 0 interrupt or type 0 interrupt. And then another example is that if you divide a large number by a small number, you are taking a large number of 4FH into the AX register and a small value of 02 into the BL register. So if you divide that large value of 4FH by the small value of 02, you will get a number that is 32767 in decimal. And then the maximum value that can be stored in the register of AL is only 255, that is in decimal, and hexa it is FFH. So the maximum value that can be stored in 8-bit register AL. But here you are getting a very large value, so that it generates an error called as a divide by 0 error. This large value is unfit to, it is it cannot fit in the given small register, that is AL register. And then the next interrupt is a single step interrupt or the type 1 interrupt. So this interrupt is used for execution of each instruction in a program. Instead of executing the entire program and then checking the results after the execution of the program, you can check the values or register values, and then you can check the memory values, register values after the execution of each and every instruction in the single step mode. So that after the execution of each and every instruction, it runs an ISR, so that it allows you to check the status of the registers and then the flags. So that is done in the single step mode. So it executes, so for doing this, the trap flag must be set to 1, and then the interrupt need to be, then the type 1 interrupt need to occur. Then we need to execute INT 1H interrupt, and then the trap flag need to be set 1. So when that is done, then when the type 1 interrupt occurs, then it pushes the values onto the stack, just like it has done in the case of divide by 0 interrupt. It pushes the values of flags onto the stack and then resets the trap and interrupt flag, and then pushes the values of CS and IP onto the stack. And then after execution of each instruction, then it executes the ISR. So the address of the ISR is 404H in the interrupt vector table. So it go to it is the address of the interrupt vector table, where you have the addresses of CS, IP addresses of ISR corresponding to the type 1 interrupt. So you can get these addresses simply by multiplying the type of the interrupt by 4. So for type 1 into 4, you will get the addresses as a 404H, and then it starts executing the ISR, so that you can so that it displays the values of the registers onto the screen. So after executing the single instruction, then it stores the corresponding values onto the stack memory and then executes the ISR to display the register values. After displaying the register values, again it comes to the second instruction and then execute the second instruction, and again after executing the second instruction, again it does the same, pushes these values onto the stack memory, and again it go to the execution of ISR, and then again display the register values, and then again it comes back for the execution of the third instruction. So that is how the single step mode executes, single step interrupt works. So if you want to set this trap flag, so there you cannot set those trap flag directly. You have set of instructions to do that. By using a set of instructions, you can set the trap flag or you can reset the trap flag. So the flag status that is available on the flags, so you push that flag status onto the stack. So the stack pointer will be holding the address of this flag values. So that address is again moved to BP base pointer. Now the base pointer will have the address of the flag values, and then it is odd, then these the values in this address, that is base pointer plus 0 in this address is odd with 0100H to set the trap flag. So you do the OR operation so that by doing the OR operation, no other flags are affected except the trap flag that you want to. You can reset the required bit without disturbing any other flag bits. So that is done only with the help of the OR operation. So we are doing OR operation with the word pointer BP plus 0 and 0100H. So whatever the values in the flag register, so that is odd with 0100H. And then now you pop the values of the flag register from the stack. So that is, you modified the flag values by storing it onto the stack memory. Now you bring it back, that means you restore it with the help of pop F instruction. Now the corresponding trap flag is set, so that the program now works in the single step mode. Similarly, if you want to reset it in the place of OR, so the program, the instructions are same, except that in the place of OR operation you need to do the AND operation with the value 0FE FFH. So when you do AND operation, then it gets reset. For AND operation, both the inputs need to be 1. In case if one input is set to 0, then automatically the value gets 0. So by doing AND operation, we'll get the value as 0. That is, the trap flag bit will be set to 0, cleared. So this is how the trap flag is set and reset, and this is how the trap flag, that is a type 1 interrupt, works. And then we'll see the next type of interrupt, that is a non-maskable interrupt, that is a type 2 interrupt. So this is a type 2 interrupt. This is automatically occurs whenever a 0 to 1 transition occurs on the NMI input pin. So NMI is a non-maskable interrupt pin on the 8086. So whenever the value at the NMI pin changes from 0 to 1, then this type 2 interrupt occurs. So the same like the other interrupts, whenever this interrupt occurs, then it stores the corresponding values of the 8086 flag values onto the stack, and does the TF and IF cleared, and then CS and IP values are stored onto the stack, and then start executing the NMI. And this NMI, it cannot be disabled by the program instructions, as we have seen earlier. The maskable, which means that it can be disabled or enabled by the programmer, whereas the non-maskable interrupt, it cannot be disabled by the programmer. So where it can be used, for example, an example of NMI interrupt is shown here. For example, how this NMI can be used. Consider a boiler with a sensor placed on it. So whenever the sensor limit has reached, then it generates an interrupt signal to the 8086 to control the boiler level, the fuel to the boiler level. So that is done through the type 2 interrupt. So this is an example. So and also this NMI interrupt, it can be used in a power failure conditions. That is whenever a sudden failure occurs in the system, then it generates an interrupt to the NMI, non-maskable interrupt of the 8086. Then it saves the content in the battery powered or battery backup RAM memory. Another interrupt is the type 3 interrupt. So this type 3 interrupt is a breakpoint interrupt. So that is used to execute a set of instructions. Simply say a program, you can execute a set of instructions or a program up to the breakpoint. So wherever you insert this INT3, so up to where all the instructions are executed, and then the corresponding results are provided in the registers as well as through memory. So all the instructions up to the insert breakpoint and then stops the execution. So when it does similarly, just like the other interrupts, so it does the same thing here. So when this interrupt occurs, it does the following task and then goes to the execution of the ISR, so that that displays the values of registers onto the display. And then the last interrupt, that is dedicated interrupt, the last one in the dedicated interrupts is a overflow interrupt, that is a type 4 interrupt. So whenever overflow interrupt is set, this is set only for assigned operations. So when assigned operations, when doing signed operations, the value is divided into positive and negative. So the range is reduced to half. That is the range of storage for the destination registers gets gets divided into half. So the large numbers it cannot be fit onto those registers for assigned operations. So in such cases, it generates an error called as overflow error. So here overflow error can be used to perform some other indicate some other conditions. So that is after the execution of the arithmetic instruction. You can check the overflow condition by using two instructions. One is JO, jump on overflow instruction. So you can use this instruction to jump to the specific location and then specific address or a specific instruction to perform some operation after the arithmetic operation. Or you can use another instruction called as INTO. INTO is interrupt overflow instruction. So you can use INTO, interrupt overflow instruction, immediately after the arithmetic instruction. So that also you can move to some other program. In case if there is no overflow condition occurs, then simply it acts as a no operation instruction. That is, it simply does not, that is, it does not, the CPU does not do anything except it consumes some time. So this overflow interrupt, that is the type 4 interrupt, which is overflow interrupt, also functions just as same as the other interrupts. That is, whenever this interrupt occurs, then 8086 process this interrupt just as the same as the other interrupts. So these all about the interrupts, and let us look at the priority of the interrupts. So these are the main interrupts in the 8086, the dedicated interrupts, and these are the priority of those interrupts. So the first priority, highest priority, is given to the divide by error, divide by zero interrupt, and then INTN and INT overflow interrupts. And then the next interrupts, they are given to non-maskable interrupt, and then interrupt request INTR, which is a maskable interrupt. Then single step interrupt is having the lowest priority compared to all. So priority helps you to resolve issues like when more number of interrupts occurs at the same time, then which interrupt need to be serviced. Then in such cases, priority helps to resolve the issues of more number of handling more number of interrupts. In 8086, we also have a programmable interrupt controller to handle these. That is separately can be interfaced. A programmable interrupt controller can be separately interfaced to the 8086 to handle these priority issues and everything.